Well, until 2014, I knew absolutely nothing about MND. Well, Kate was a bit of an inspiration to me. It's ironic that we're here at the rugby club today, out on that pitch, because that's where I first met her.
Oh.
I was playing, she was on the touchline, and I thought she looks quite nice. 10 weeks after that, she told me to ask her to marry her. And the rest is history, so they say. So I had 28
Lovely.
years of not knowing her, 30 years of being part of her life, and the rest is all to play for. So I think that's where we go. She's quite an inspirational character, pushed me to better myself. I wouldn't have been doing the job I did or have the dog I've got had it not been for her, because she was a great dog lover. And so after her passing from MND, it just felt appropriate to do something and give something back. So hence the fundraising came into play. There you go. Yeah, so Christmas Day, sat with my best man and his wife and my godchildren 2 weeks after Kate had passed away. Will, my son, suggested that we ought to do a tribute for Mum and resurrect the Calais to Perpignan cycle ride that he did as a 16-year-old, that his mum encouraged him to do, and that I went down as the support crew. So, having not ridden a bike since I was about 12 years old, first thing to do was to buy a bike. Went out and bought one, sat and looked at it in the conservatory for 8 weeks before I actually plucked up the courage to sit on it and have a go, only to be told that I had 15 weeks to get ready to cycle 800 miles in 10 days. So in for a penny, in for a pound. And as I said, wasn't a cyclist until that point. Put a team together with my godchildren, friends of Will who'd done it before, and my old rugby mate here from Winchester, Steve. And lo and behold, off we went to France. Had the experience of a lifetime, and thought I'd get to the Med and chuck the bike in the sea and never want to see it again. Trouble was, I got a bit hooked. Being quite competitive, there were a couple of days where I didn't cycle every single mile and felt I wanted to do it properly. So continued training and cycling then kicked off big time, and it has done for the last 5 years. Calais to Perpignan wasn't really an inclusive event. We got everybody involved with it, watching us from the sidelines and on social media, but there were only the 10 of us and the support crew who had one hell of a life-changing experience. The following summer, in the May of 2016, we thought we'd run a charity event based out of here at the rugby club called Tour de Silos, taking in 3 of the big silo sites that were very much part of my work life before I retired. That involved 120, 130 people coming down, just picking the distance they'd like to cycle based on their ability or their ambition. Good fun day out, lunch, tea, a few beers here at the finish, cyclists, non-cyclists, and that seems to have taken off, and we now have done that for 5 years. The last year being slightly different, being a socially distanced event to help fund the shortfall in funding for the association in this of all years. The virtual event in some respects was far more successful than the real event for getting everybody to travel to Hampshire, in so much that we had people cycling all over the country, from Scotland, East Anglia, Pembrokeshire, and then as far afield as Canada, Australia, just making up their own routes. And we had our biggest turnout to date, with treble the numbers that we would normally have, and raising a few bob for the MNDA. This year we've got Mission 5000 we're running for the MNDA, the opportunity for a team of individuals collectively to cycle, swim, run, walk, whatever it is, a collective 5,000 miles. that might not seem such a stretch target for some of us professional cyclists like myself, but it's not so much about the target. It's the ability to get involved, to partake, because you get far more out of these things than you do from just participating. What I would say is, please do get involved. Set your own personal challenge. You may know somebody who's been involved or has MND. You may have been inspired by some of the BBC News coverage of Doddy Weir and Rob Burrow and the other rugby players that I know that have succumbed to this disease, inspired by their fighting spirit, never to be put down. You might be inspired because you've been procrastinating, sat on a sofa thinking I'll do that tomorrow. Now's your opportunity just to get out, set your own challenge. It's 35 days, mile a day, 10 miles a day. You do what you feel is appropriate for yourself in whatever sport you want to do. You will find if you do this, you'll get far more out of it than you've put in, and you'll feel better for yourself knowing that you've helped somebody else. Thank you.